Hey everybody, this is Dylan, and today I have a review for you. If you saw my video the other day of my Reddit gift exchange, you would know that I got the Burning Blu-ray, and I'm going to be doing a review over The Burning. The Burning came out in 1981, making it 35 years old this year. It is directed by Tony Maylam, and it's a production of the Weinstein brothers. One of the brothers, I believe it was Harvey, wrote the story, and then Bob helped produce it. Don't quote me on that. Then the makeup and effects was done by Tom Savini, who also did the first Friday the 13th, and then he might have came back for some of the other ones. But I wanted to tell some fun facts about this movie before I got into the review. It's loosely based on the upstate New York urban legend of Cropsey. There's like the killer in this movie, his name is Cropsey, so it's like a direct reference. But from what I know of the urban legend, it does not really have that much to do about from the actual urban legend, just the name. It was also the first film released by Miramax Film, so that's pretty cool. And surprisingly, which a lot of these lower budget, early 80s horror movies don't, but this one has a 100% rating on Rotten Tomatoes, so that was pretty interesting. Alright, so the way that I have this set up in my review, if you see me looking down, it's because I got notes on it, is that I've got 10 different categories, and I'm going to rate them from 1 to 10, and that's how, and then at the end I'm going to add them all up, and that's going to be my rating for this movie. And I think I'm going to stay with that model unless you guys don't like it. Leave me a comment below letting me know after this video, after you've watched it, if you've liked the model, and if not, what I can do to improve. So the first category I have is cover art. So this is a Scream Factory release. So this is one side of the cover art, and then this is the other side, and this is the original artwork for the movie. And I'm going to give the cover art a 10 out of 10. I love this new design of the Scream Factory releases, this like stylized artwork. I think that's really cool, and I also think that it's really cool that they include the original artwork in there for people who grew up with it and really remember that. So I'm giving that a 10 out of 10. So the next up is casting. So we've got Brian Matthews as Todd, who is the male camp counselor in the movie. We've got Leah Ayres as Michelle, and she's the female camp counselor in the movie. We've got Lou David, who plays Cropsey. We've got Jason Alexander as David, and these last two, Jason Alexander and Holly Hunter as Sophie. Those last two are arguably the most famous people that have went on and got fame from after this movie was released. And I gave the casting category, I gave that an 8 out of 10. And I only did that because I felt like some of the campers looked a little too old to realistically be in camp. Jason Alexander, I don't know if it's just because he hasn't really changed that much from when he was, or from now to when he was younger, other than he lost some hair and gained some weight. But I think that he was a little too old for this role as a camper. Maybe if he was a counselor, that would be a different story, but he was just a regular camper. And then there was another guy, I think his name was Larry Joshua. He looked a lot older than what I would perceive as somebody who would be going to camp. So that got an 8 out of 10. Acting, I gave a 10 out of 10 in that category. Was it the Oscar-worthy performance? Probably not. But I thought that for it being a early 80s low-budget slasher film, where this film was most of these people's first movies that they had ever worked on, I thought that they did a really good job, and I thought that there was nothing that really bad acting that took me out of the movie. So I gave that a 10 out of 10. Then we've got picture quality of the Blu-ray. This did just get a Blu-ray release from Scream Factory. I believe it was in 2013. So I gave the Blu-ray picture transfer quality a 9 out of 10. For the most part, it was really good. There you could definitely see a lot of details and stuff. One of my big issues, which really isn't that big of an issue, but I noticed it in a couple different scenes, was there was kind of speckling on the picture from like an old, the old film cameras, how you would sometimes see the speckling. That is kind of what I was seeing, and it was only in a couple scenes that I noticed it in, so I felt like that was a little just detracted from the picture quality a bit. Also, I don't know if this really fits in, but I wanted to mention something that I thought was really weird about the way that they filmed it. There were scenes that were like pitch black at night in one scene, and then it cuts to a different scene that's supposed to be a couple minutes later, and it looks like it's dusk. And that's just some different, I don't know if they had problems with lighting in the middle of the woods, because most of this took place in the middle of the woods, but I don't know if they have problems with lighting or something, but it kind of just took away from the believability. There was one scene where it was obviously night, and then he wakes somebody up in the middle of the night, and then they go somewhere, and you can see through the trees and the top of the canopy that it's broad daylight. So that was just a little weird. So then we were going to go to the plot. This section might be the only section that I actually have major spoilers in, and I'm going to try not to, but I will tell you my rating for it right now, and then I will put a link to my next category, so you don't have to watch this if you don't want to. So we've got the plot. The rating is a 7 out of 10. Part of the reason is, at the beginning, I felt like the very opening scene, I felt like that took place, that there was like 10 to 15 minutes missing from the beginning. Like, we didn't really get a backstory on Cropsy and why these kids, because these kids, he was the caretaker at this camp, and these campers wanted to play a prank on him because supposedly he was, he like tormented the kids. He was like a real, kind of like snitch type of person. So they decided that they were going to prank him. This prank ends horribly wrong, where he catches on fire, and that is how the beginning is. And it's like, they didn't really show anything about why Cropsy did what he did, or why the kids did to Cropsy. They just kind of said it. So I would have really wished that they had more of like a backstory behind Cropsy. And then it goes through, and he ends up going back to the camp and seeking revenge on these other kids. So that was kind of interesting. Then it kind of all ties it together in the end, so make sure to watch it to the end. My next category I have is a rating on the killer. So the killer in this movie was Cropsy. I gave him a 9 out of 10. He was definitely... We first see the killer, we first see Cropsy after he's been burned. we only see from the neck down or from the back, or he's all unshadowed. He wears a hat, and so you don't really see what he looks like. You know he's got to be bad because he went up in flames, so you're not really sure what he looks like. We get our first glimpse at the burnt Cropsey at the 30-minute mark. And it is like a side profile, and it's only on screen for a couple of seconds. And then we don't see the full Cropsey face until 1 hour and 24 minutes into the movie. And this movie is only 131 minutes long. So I think I like what they did because they kept this character a mystery, and it added to the idea that he is scary and that you don't really know what he looks like. So when you see what he looks like in the end, it is a big shock to people. So then we've got the killer's weapon. I gave the killer's weapon a 9 out of 10. He uses a gardening shears to kill his victims. And I think that is really cool. I don't think I've ever seen a scary movie, horror movie, that used gardening shears as their weapon. He was the gardener caretaker of the camp, so it would make sense that he had gardening shears. The one thing that I wish that he would have done with the gardening shears was just take them and decapitate somebody with them. I really wish that he had done that, but he did not. So then the ending. I'm not going to give anything away from the ending. I'm just going to tell you the rating of it. I gave it a 8 out of 10. And that's mainly because of the setting of the ending. Other than that, I think that the ending was pretty good. So then we're going to go into special effects on this Blu-ray. I'm going to read this from the back. There is an audio commentary by director Tony Maylam, and international journalist Alan Jones, Blood and Fire Memories, which is a... I watched some of these. I watched everything but the audio commentaries because there was 2 audio commentaries, one with the director and then one with some of the cast, and I just didn't really want to watch the movie 3 times. But we've got Blood and Fire Memories, and that is a special feature that features Tom Savini, and he's talking about doing the makeup and stuff. And one of the cool things about that one was he said that he he decided not to do the burning over Friday the 13th Part 2 because he did not think that it was plausible that Jason would come back as a killer in Friday the 13th Part 2 when he drowned as a child. And they're like, oh no, we're gonna bring him back. And he was like, yeah, alright, bye, I'm gonna go do the burning. But his makeup and effects, it was really cool because it showed how involved he was with the filming process. He did a lot of the kills himself, so that was really cool. Like, he was the one that was Cropsey, and he did it so he can make sure that he gets it exactly right and exactly how Tony Maylam wanted it. So that was cool. There was also a thing about a special feature featuring Leah Ayres, and it's her talking about her casting, and that was really cool. There's some behind-the-scenes pictures and the theatrical trailer, so those were cool. And I gave that a 10 out of 10. Scream Factory does really good on their special features for people who are really fans of the movie. And then we're going to do overall enjoyability. So for overall enjoyability of this movie, I gave it a 9 out of 10. I felt like it was very enjoyable. If you're a fan of slashers, if you're a fan of low-budget movies, low-budget horror movies, if you're a fan of horror movies, you will probably really enjoy this movie. There was only a couple things that were a little unrealistic that took you out of the movie if you really thought about it. So that was it. So that brings the total to 89 out of 100. So I think that is very good, especially for a low-budget slasher film from the early 80s. Yeah, I definitely I enjoyed this movie. I would recommend it. Just because I like this movie does not mean that you will like it, and just because I didn't like some things doesn't mean that you will not like it. I'm a firm believer in everyone should be able to make up their own decisions. So go find The Burning and give it a watch. See how you like it. If you've seen it, let me know in the comments if you liked it or not. Thanks for watching this.